This show, just like all the other Starrcast shows, are available at adfreeshows.com.
Couldn't help but think, what was going through your mind when you walked into Caesar's palace? Things might come back, a few memories, April 4th, 1993, maybe. Really, what's your, returning to the scene of the crime?
Well, you know, I actually have really good memories of being here for the WrestleMania 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with the plans they had for me in the future, but other than that, I mean, it was great. I remember I got off the plane and there was, you know, my face and my pictures of me with the belt and stuff were everywhere at the airport, and it was pretty, like in a lot of ways, was some of my greatest memories. It was the first time I was the main event at a WrestleMania, and I was really honored. I will say that I had absolutely no expectation for what happened. Was my understanding, as Vince had said to me from the day I won the title, he said that you don't have to worry about anything. We're looking at you as a long-term champion. You're going to be champion here for a long time. We're thinking 6, maybe 7 years, kind of going back to what Bruno did, like where the champion holds the belt for a really long time. And that Hulk Hogan would have no bearing on anything that I was doing. But those were the first lies that they kind of told me, that in the end it was like they totally lied to me. You know, they gave me no warning for that at all. And I know people, you know, have a hard time understanding how it works. I'm not even sure how it works being champion, but I know that basically when you're the champion, when you have the belt in your bag and you're the guy, that you're the highest paid guy on the card. And that was a big honor for me, and I was making big plans that all the main event money I was going to be making. And instead, like when I came here, it was like, you know, I got demoted basically, and Hulk Hogan took my spot again. And it was a big disappointment, but you know, I was a professional, and I was honored that they allowed me to be champion at all, let alone for a few months. But I did feel that they pulled the plug on me a little early at that time.
You know, though, you work so hard, and this match really, to me, kind of encompasses your career with the WWF, because you were always somebody that had the business in mind, doing the right thing, and then you came here. And tell us about that conversation, because I know in your book you mentioned that it really did floor you, that you weren't really expecting this to come in, and as you said, they said Hulk was not going to be a part of this. He was going to come in for a bit and then go and do promotion for his movie.
Well, it was right out of nowhere. I was really baffled, but it seemed to me there was a bit of a panic, and I don't know all the details like maybe I should or could know. But I think what was happening was Hulk Hogan was trying to leverage Vince to give him a better contract than what he was being promised over at WCW. And so Vince, to sort of stop Hogan from going to WCW, sort of sacked me and gave him my promise, gave him my opportunity to give it to Hogan again, which, like I said, Hulk Hogan needed another run with the belt. So I was very crushed by it. Like, I was not what I expecting when I got there, and you know, and like I say, it's not the first time I had to lose a match or anything, and it was like, I expected that the moment was going to come, but maybe a year or so later. But at the same time, you have to be grateful for what you got. And I had a strong feeling in my heart that even though like the Hulk was I was a big fan of the Hulk myself. I mean, I admired him, and I thought he was basically the king of wrestling for us at the time, and he'd done so much for the industry and all that when they came back, if they just told me, like, look, we're going to put the belt back on Hulk Hogan, I wouldn't have had a big problem with it. I just felt a little misled right to the last. They didn't give me any warning or any sense of what was going on. But I also sensed that the wrestling business was changing at that time period, and I think safe to say, I think that the whole shtick that Hulk had with the behind the ear and the leg drop, and it was over. His run as a babyface had kind of come and gone, and I thought, even though the attendance had taken a dip through that whole time, which I don't think is anything to do with me. I think it was more to do with all the sex scandals and the different scandals that Vince had at the time, with all the ring boys that were being molested by Terry Garvin and those guys. And so there was some bad things happening, and attendance dropped off a little bit. And but I'd say most of the arenas were about 3/4 full, if not full. And so it was like probably to me, it was like the fans that were coming to the matches now were looking for something different. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to be the guy that was the most over at that time. And I just thought that I knew that I said to myself when I lost the title to Yoko, who lost it to Hogan, that I would probably get it back. In my mind, in my guess, I would probably get it back in about 3 or 4 months, when they realized that Hulk was a bit dried up after. And then by the King of the Ring, Hulk hadn't drawn that well, and things were not going so well for him either. And I think he was making plans to go to WCW, and they I think needed to sort of pull me back and make me build me back up to be the champion again, now that Hogan was going to leave. But I also think they decided they needed a bigger guy, that I wasn't big enough, and so I think they started grooming Lex Luger to be the next champion after that, and sort of skipped me over again. And I just remember, the important thing that I like to have people remember is that I remember after the match where I lost to Yokozuna, I can remember Hulk Hogan said to me, Terry came up to me and he said, I just want you to know I'd be happy to return the favor anytime. And that guy was the biggest liar in the wrestling business.
Well, I think everybody, though, here in this room would agree that you are a great champion in the WWF during your reign. And you mentioned Yokozuna because a lot of people didn't realize how much he could do in the ring, and also the way you helped promote him. So the matches that you were able to do the sharpshooter with him. You had some great matches with Yoko.
Yoko, I never met a Samoan wrestler that wasn't a phenomenal athlete. I mean, they could run, jump, swim, do everything. They were just so athletic. And Yoko may have been a big guy. When he was, at that time, I think he was only about 500 pounds. Which, he could still move really good. He could move like a cat out there, and you'd be surprised at how quick and nimble Rodney was. He was a really good athlete. And, I remember him, he had a beautiful voice. He'd sing in the shower and stuff like that. You'd be surprised.
Bet you didn't know that, right?
But, I always kind of catered. When you're wrestling a guy that's 500-600 pounds, it's easy to wear them down by just dogging it out there. Like when he picks you up off the mat, if you make yourself heavy, you go up for a body, he goes to body slam you, and you kind of go dead weight on him. They can throw you around, and they're strong enough to throw you around, but they only got a marginal amount of gas in the fuel in the tank, so they get tired fast, and he's got to sort of recharge for a few seconds by lying on the mat. So I always catered to Yoko I did all the running. I let him sort of stand in the middle, and I'd run into him and stuff like that, but I made it so, and I think he always appreciated that when I worked with him, that I allowed him to store his energy till the ending of the match, because it was the kind of thing, if you got a 600-pound guy that's really tired, and then he falls on you, it could be your last match. So.
And you never hurt anybody, and thank God that nothing major happened with Yoko.
No, I was lucky that way, but I do remember he would do that leg drop.
Yeah, I think people know who Bret Hart is. I don't think you need that.
He would do his leg drop on me, and he had those red nylon kind of tights that he had.
Yeah.
and he would leave his whole imprint of his tights would be on my face. And then maybe the next night he'd do it from a different angle, and then another angle, and then I'd start to have like skin like a lizard, you know. I really did, and I used to marvel at it because, you know, he was really safe. I don't remember Rodney ever hurting me, but I do know that, you know, every time I worked with him, especially when he was following me on me, I usually took a good deep breath and kind of closed my eyes. I enjoyed most of the matches I had with Yoko, and we had a good chemistry together, and I think he liked the way we worked, and so did I.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.